Brentford 2, Chelsea 2. And where do I even begin? You know what? Let's begin with the lineup, okay? I understand we got Byron away on Wednesday, so obviously we're going to rotate. So we started off with Sanchez, Chalobah, Tosin, pretty standard. Then we had Hato starting at left back and Fofana starting at right back. We got Caicedo, Enzo, Neto on the wing, Buonanotte started, and then Gittins, and then João Pedro. Now, first half, diabolical. Fucking-bolical, bro. No rhythm. Actually, no, the first 10 minutes, there was a little bit of rhythm. The patterns was looking good. But then I started to notice that we were a bit too narrow. Because normally, because like the wingers just looked isolated. Like Gittins, that's like his first Premier League start. He just looked isolated, same with Neto, because there was no overlap or underlap from either fullbacks. Because we normally have Reece either tucking into midfield or Cucurella overlapping or tucking into midfield, vice versa, or Reece, tucking into the back five. But we had nothing. We didn't have that. So 35 minutes go by. We're a goal down. Thanks to who? Kevin Schade. That was fucking crazy because the whole time they were just going in for balls in behind, trying to isolate our defender, the center back one-on-one. And then it finally worked. 35 minutes. Tosin concedes the same 1v1 goal that he did against Josh King. Again, that wasn't good enough. I can't lie to you. Once again, we needed a center back before Levi Cole got injured, and we still didn't get one. So 2 billion spent, and yeah, here we are. Moments in the first half, João Pedro literally had to drop deep to get involved to create because there was literally nothing happening on those flanks. Gittins wasn't really doing. He still needs time to adapt to the league. Buonanotte actually had a decent 45 minutes. I was actually shocked that they subbed him out. I was expecting Gittins to get subbed out. Late in the half, I remember, Buonanotte had the biggest chance in the half, created the biggest chance. We had a couple good patterns of play. We got into the box, and then instead of Buonanotte to shoot, this guy just I don't know. Enzo ends up getting the shot in the box, left-footed. Keeper had to save near post, but yeah. And then second half, that's when we brought on the big boys. Manager made changes. I don't put this game on the manager, by the way. The manager did his job for us to be able to win this game. Manager brings on Cucurella for Hato, Reece for Fofana, and he brings on Tyreek George for Buonanotte. That one was surprising because he basically put Tyreek George at striker because for João Pedro to go on the 10, Now, thoughts on that first half. Hato clearly and Gittins clearly still need time to adapt. Clearly, Buonanotte had a good cameo, 45 minutes. That was pretty good, promising. Can't complain. And then second half, we end up bringing on Palmer at 55 minutes, and then I could notice our wingers were holding the width, and then we were kind of over. What's the word? We were kind of overcrowding the midfield with Reece and Cucurella kind of just tucking in a little bit, just on the inside wide, while the wingers were holding the width, just packing up that midfield, and then Cucurella will either, he'll make underlapping runs when the winger's holding the width, same with Reece, or overlapping runs. So yeah, and then eventually Palmer comes on, scores 5 minutes after he comes on, 68th minute, and then you could clearly see that the quality off the bench was shining through. You could see the quality off the bench in a series of attacks. And then later on, 85th minute, boom, Caicedo rocket. I was screaming. I was in limbs, bro. It was pure cinema. Pure cinema. Okay? And at this point, Garnacho was already on. Garnacho actually had a pretty good impact overall. in those how many minutes did he play? 10 minutes. He's had better impact than Gittins has had all season in the minutes that he's had. Um, so it goes to show that he's more Premier League proven and Premier League ready for this team in comparison to Gittins, which is kind of crazy. Personally, I would have preferred Gittins and Xavi Simons, or Xavi Simons and Garnacho in this team, because he adds something different. Gittins and I don't even know. Let's keep moving. And now we move on to 98th minute. 6 minutes added on. All we gotta do is just keep it compact, just hold tight, defend for our lives. And guess what? 93rd minute, long throw from Brentford. And literally 4 of our defenders were literally crowding one player. 1 or 2 Brentford players in the box. 4 of our defenders literally magnetized to them because the ball was going that way, and they still lost the duel. They lost the duel. I know people have been trying to blame Garnacho for it. But nah, bro, that's not his fault. Like, you can't be blaming an attacker for not being able to defend when the other defenders were literally on some fucking crazy bullshit. Yeah. So after that that last minute, that late equalizer, my head was on Mars. That's why this reaction's coming out today. I needed a whole day to really calm myself, because yeah, my head was hot. My head was hot. But Jesus, man. Yeah, that game's on the players. The manager did what he could to Maresca. I can't put the blame on him. So 2 points dropped. Feels like 3 points lost. Man. All we can do is move on to the next. Bayern away. I might do a watch along for that, so keep tuned. Twitch.com/LoveManny00. We're getting on our grind. Let's go. And then we got United away again on is it Saturday? So yeah, we will be there. I mean, hindsight, we're still undefeated. I mean, there's some positives. Benanate, our starters, came on, did their job. So our quality clearly still there. So yeah, some players still need to gel in. And Hato, Gittins. Yeah, that's all I got. In a bit.